Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager for Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
It's my favorite time of year.
Oh, yeah.
March Madness.
March Madness.
Yep. I'm a huge, although my team was the most humiliating defeat of the entire tournament so far. Well, in fact, nothing could make it worse now. So you might as well just go ahead and say Kentucky was the worst defeat of the entire tournament, losing to St. Petersburg. Our only redeeming value is they won the next game after that. So,
are they the ones that are like the big underdog? Is that St. Petersburg?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's some good games so far, but
it's not that I'm not a fan of basketball. I just watch courts and then just flip on to see another court and
just to see.
Just to see. Yeah, we're big. Me and my buddies, we're big Frozen Four.
Frozen Four?
The Frozen Four. Yeah, they weren't
Hockey?
allowed. College hockey was not allowed to use the Final Four for, to say the Final Four are in the championship for hockey. So they call it the Frozen Four.
I was not aware of that.
For all you hockey fans out there. Yes.
I'll be darned. I recently, I loved playing basketball when I was a kid. I mean, I absolutely could play from morning till night playing basketball. And obviously with my knee and everything now, the other issues, I can't play anymore. But I went over to a friend's house a while back and he had 3 kids. I think the oldest kid was 13 years old. And, let's play basketball out back. And I had more fun dominating those kids. And talking trash to those kids who gave it right back to me. It was an absolute blast. It must have been what Shaquille O'Neal was like playing with high school kids.
My buddies and I, when we would play basketball during the summer when the ice wasn't around, so we couldn't play any pond hockey or anything like that. But we played a different type of version of basketball. I mean, it was kind of basketball, but it was like full contact, a lot of checking, a lot of hip checks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And man, you can wipe people out in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're very vulnerable. So we had there were some good bloody noses during those games.
Yeah, it could be very, what the hell is the word I'm looking for?
Hockey players aren't very good basketball players because of the touching. One touch and boom, that's a penalty or a foul. Not a penalty. Boy, do I sound like a dork. That's a foul. I get it.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Did you pick a bracket?
No, I don't do that. I never been on sports. I stopped betting on sports a long time ago. I'm not. I never won. So
I love sitting around with men and women and listen to how they pick brackets. Like my brother-in-law, big Villanova fan. He knows how to do brackets. My son-in-law, Kyle, he's winning in his brackets, So there's a lot of bracket talk around supper and things like that. And then you hear how the girls are picking theirs, this mascot, a rooster could definitely beat a spider, And but my buddy Pete, he always had the best one. He would pick his brackets, how good the hockey team was for that school. So he could have some crazy, people in the end getting there.
And that's why I stopped betting on it, because he's got as good a chance to win as I do. And is it your son-in-law that's a Villanova fan?
No, that's my brother-in-law.
Okay, well,
big time Villanova fan. He went to Villanova, so he's a big fan. And
it'll be disappointing when they lose to Michigan tonight.
Oh, is that tonight?
Yep.
I gotta text him then.
There you go. All right. So today, Rob, I thought we would, the industry, once a year they want to know from us what the state of the industry is going to be. And
you mean from us?
Of course.
Our podcast.
The way, and a lot of decisions will really millions of dollars deciding on, depending on what we say, how they're going to manage their money, what they're going to, do they sell short? Do they buy more? I mean, so we might as well get it
Yes.
out now and
Okay.
let them know what's happening.
So this is the show that a lot of the people
course.
have been waiting for.
A lot of your analysts,
The On the Floor with Wayne and Rob State of the Industry show.
yeah.
Excellent. Shouldn't we have done this like in January?
We could have, yeah. But
Or
then,
we had what? We just kept crunching those numbers.
I wanted to wait because there were a lot of indicators this year that were interesting. And I wanted to make sure that things were lined up the way that I thought they were going to go. As you know, in a recent op-ed piece, I predicted the pandemic, I think about 2015. So
you knew the pandemic was coming back then.
Well, if you look at everything on paper, it was lining up.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. I was recently around a bunch of commercial contractors and light commercial contractors, and then some real, very big commercial contractors. And it was very interesting listening to their take and what they're seeing out there in the industry. So I thought we would talk about some of those and share some of that information. And I guess you have to start with the housing crisis that's going on. And I don't know if you're aware of this. I mean, of course, I know that you're aware of this, Rob. Right now in America, we have 5 million homes shortage right now, just to catch up. Just to barely catch up with the demand in housing. So America is 5 million houses under what we need right now to meet the demand. Pretty shocking, isn't it?
There's 5 million people out there looking for a house, and there's no houses to buy. Really?
Yep. And
where are they?
Well, there are people that are, millennials that are getting ready to buy homes for the first time. There are people that are moving. Yep. And a lot of people are looking at smart homes now too. The technology in the smart homes. And so they're waiting for those. And so, there's a housing crisis. So actually, I think,
why don't you explain to the homeowner or the homeowners, why don't you explain to her, what is a smart home?
Well, it's the same thing as your phone. I mean, they want to be able to control everything from their phone. That doesn't use a lot of more electricity than it needs. That you can just turn on all your lights and control everything. The temperature in the house, the alarm system in the house, your stereo equipment from the house. So yeah, all that, you're not going to get that in a 1970s house, right? Or even a 2000 house. I mean, these things now that's the way the young people want to buy now. There's a lot of different factors that cause the housing bubble. Rising economic prosperity. I mean, over the last several years, especially with two people working in the house, there's been a lot of money out there. Low interest rates, wider mortgage product offerings has also contributed to it, and easy access to credit. So, those are things that have kind of contributed to this. And now you put along that with the raw material shortage, the shipping industry shortage, and I'll tell you something that might shock a lot of people, but I know not you, Rob, that for every flatbed truck that's out on the road today.
Oh, you took mine. I wanted to say that one.
Okay. What do you think is contributing to that, Rob?
Let me tell you something, Wayne. For every flatbed truck out there, there's 97 loads waiting for it.
For every single truck?
For every single flatbed truck. There's 97 loads waiting for that truck.
It tells me it's a good industry to get into, driving trucks.
Oh, the open road. I could see you and I doing that.
Yeah, grinding gears. You know what
grinding
I mean?
The gears. Hell yeah. Greasy spoons.
Yeah.
I want to be a truck driver though. I don't want to touch the freight though. You know what I mean? I don't.
No,
in the wood floor industry, I always thought that was the funniest damn thing in the world, to try to call our delivery guys truck drivers. That was the last thing they did. That truck driving for them was like the break in their day. These poor bastards humping lumber all day long, upstairs, downstairs, job site deliveries. To call them truck drivers, oh my God, that's the easiest part of their day. They live to drive the truck.
There's two things that when I was a kid that I was so wrong on. I think we all were. That as I've gotten older, I realize it's not the case. I mean, we used to think truck drivers were like tough. Truck driver, you're tough, right? You drive this big truck down the road. Until I started seeing like 65-year-old grandmothers driving trucks down the road. And the other thing is with tattoos. Like you used to see, like when we were kids, when we were growing up, if a guy had one tattoo, wow, oh, you got a tattoo. You know what I mean? One.
Yeah.
And maybe you see a guy with 2 or 3 or maybe 4. They're usually guys that come back from the service. And so you think, man, tough getting them tattoos. Again, I've seen 65-year-old grandmothers that are sleeved now. So, not kind of what I thought it was. So maybe it means something different now.
You don't have any skin art, do you?
You don't mess with this, what I got going on. I mean, when God gives you this, you don't do nothing to it. It's like going to, you don't put A1 sauce on a great steak, right?
Okay. You're right. I always wondered why I never got a tattoo. Now I know why. You're right. Why would I mess this up? Yeah.
You might actually benefit from a tattoo or two. I actually entertained
and
one
the funny
time.
part is everybody thinks I'm the mean one.
No, I meant that in the nicest way.
Yeah, I'm the mean one.
Those trucks you talked about, and you might say, well, how come you don't just make more trucks? The issue is that there's no microchips. And so you can't even get you don't have what you need to build the new trucks. So that's a big part of the challenge.
And truck drivers have to be the same thing that, floor guys and everybody else is going through. There's got to be a shortage of drivers. There has to be.
Well, clearly there is.
Has to be.
Yeah.
You were in Mississippi this week, weren't you?
I was in Mississippi this week. Yeah.
I'm gonna move down here. I'm telling the family we're moving down here. This is my second time. I think I was down in Mississippi. Might have been before Christmas or in December.
From upstate New York to Mississippi.
Yes, we did a school back. I think it was in December. We did another school this week. The people, the place, the towns. It's gorgeous down here. It's gorgeous.
I don't see what could go wrong.
It could be like a reality show, because I can't move down here alone.
No.
And the only way I'd ever get Pauline to move down here is everybody's got to come. All the kids, all the grandkids. I got to talk everybody into it.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeremiah and I were talking about this the other night. So Jeremiah has been sending me huge homes for sale down here that he said, I think you could fit everybody in there. And I said, this does sound like it could be a pretty good reality show,
There are some sleeper states out there. And I'll tell you, Mississippi is one. There's some beautiful areas in Mississippi. I think Jackson is the biggest town in Mississippi. I think it's only like 80,000 people there, if I'm not mistaken. Biloxi is maybe number 2, and there's nobody there either. It's a.
That's where I am this week. I'm in Jackson. It's fantastic. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the weather's great, and it's inexpensive. And I'll tell you another place, Alabama, the Gulf Shores down there in Alabama area. Have you ever heard of a town called Fairhope, Alabama?
Never.
You should Google that. That is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful town. Although I got a feeling it's pretty expensive. So.
Well, I know how they're keeping us out. I know how they keep us out of here. Okay, I know how they
Mississippi.
Yes, I know how they keep New Yorkers and people from the Northeast. I know how they do it. Okay, every other week they keep showing the movie Mississippi Burning, and they're like, "Oh my God, how could you?" Even when I said to Pauline, I go, "We got to move down here." She's like, "Are you out of your mind?" I go, "Look, that wasn't a documentary. Okay, plus it was something like 80 years ago that happened. I said, it's not what you think. It's almost like when they said, oh, Iceland, no, you don't want to come to Iceland. You know, it's nothing but ice, where it's really just beautiful green mountains, and the Iceland
Mhm.
kept everybody away. Mississippi doing the same thing. You're not fooling me, though. I'm
Right.
coming down and I'm bringing everybody with me.
You know what you should do is do a trial run in August for a couple weeks. Then see how it goes. All right. All
So
right.
you think it's a little on the
It's hot.
humid side, a little moist?
A little bit.
Yeah,
A little bit. Yep.
I could, I could sweat a couple pounds off. I don't think that would hurt me.
Yeah. I do love it down there. The fishing is good too. So the people are super friendly, and I do love Mississippi. Yeah. If you haven't been to Oxford, Mississippi, it is probably the nicest, most quintessential Southern town square in America. Really
That's
pretty.
where I was in December.
Yeah.
Oxford. We went out to dinner, and I said, man, oh man, I was taking pictures, showing Pauline. I go, this is your town. That town square is unbelievable, beautiful.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it was Mississippi.
So not only is this like the state of the union, in the industry right now, it's also a travel show.
The Travel Channel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. On the road.
Yes.
On the floor, on the road.
Yeah. On my nerves. All right. So talking to the other guys, I was not aware of this. We talk about the problems that they were having in the industry, getting products and what have you. There is a term in China that the translation for that is roughly translates to laying down.
Lay flat.
Laying flat. Yeah.
Laying flat.
What a lot of workers are doing is just walking off the job. They're getting slave wages in a lot of cases, or barely making any money. So they've realized in the last few years, just walk off, lay flat, don't work, and it's really affecting getting goods to America. And you're starting to see a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that also going on in America now. So that's also really kind of affected things in the getting goods to the country. So,
well, I used to coach the United States post hockey team, the U.S. Postal team from my region, and so I know the post office in and out. I never really worked for the post office, but I did plow a couple of post office parking lots and stuff when I was plowing snow. So I'm very close with the USPS, as we would say. And we have a term at USPS when management gets on our nerves. When management oversteps their boundaries and says things that maybe they shouldn't have said, or treats the workers in not such a nice way, we call it dropping the plow. So in China, it's called laying flat. In the United States Postal Service, we call it dropping the plow.
Are you a member of the Communist Party?
No. I learned this. Now, look, remember, I coached the team.
Don't get defensive.
No. Here's the deal. I coached like I said, the U.S. Postal team. Mm-hmm. But the people who played on that team were workers and management. So not only was I coaching a team, I was trying to
bring them together.
That team together, because some of the locker room banter could get pretty heated sometimes.
Wow.
Because I had union delegates, I had upper management guys. There was a lot, so it was my job not only to coach them, but, bring them together as one and not want to kill each other and try to focus that anger at the other teams that were playing.
Well, you said
sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
You said the right word with anger, because my brother worked for the Postal Service, and I have never heard of more disgruntled, more miserable, more angry people in my life as what goes on at the Postal Service.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I mean, the way that they talk about grinding. I mean, they're grinding them down. I mean, it was unbelievable to me.
How long did he work there? Or does he still work there?
He was in the Army for 10 years and then spent the next 20 to 25, and he retired from the post office. Yeah.
Was he a corporate stooge or was he a worker bee?
Oh, by no means. He was a worker.
Oh,
And you know, we have maybe a little bit of a temper thing that runs in the family a little bit. And
I can see that. Yeah.
he had a customer complain about where he put the mail, and he went there after work at 5 o'clock to fight the guy. So, he also had one of his superintendents transfer out of the post office because he was concerned about him. So
it's insane. It's a crazy.
We're glad he retired.
The stories that I would hear with these guys, just unbelievable.
All right. So speaking of grinding,
grind away.
One of these things that these commercial contractors were saying that if anybody is grinding you for a price right now, walk away. Walk away. Price is not the issue anymore. There's no way that you should have to put up with that right now. There's so much going on and so much work going on and what have you. And just, you know, especially if you have the products, which many of these guys don't have the products. So if you're the fortunate one that has what the customer's looking for, including the talent to do it, the labor to do it, the time to do it, there you should not be in the negotiating. And again, I always preface this with this is my talking to the hearing what these guys are saying, and Rob and I are by no means. We might be financial experts on the 30,000 level, you know, on the State of the Union type of stuff. But for individual businesses, you know, use at your own discretion. But I see someone sitting home this week because they
replaying it and writing down what you said. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he told me to walk away.
Yeah, and now look at me.
Yeah.
No, they took my van away because I couldn't pay the bill.
Yeah.
Well, you know, people are always saying, boy, Rob does sound greedy on the show, but man, if you're definitely not in the race to the top now, I mean, there's just no better time. Better time.
It's not even a matter of greedy anymore. It's survival. You have to raise the prices for that reason. You'll find a lot of these big commercial contractors, in fact, are buying up warehouse space because a lot of the jobs are demanding that they have all the products on the site before they even begin, especially if they're coming over from China. So and so what that's doing is it's driving up the costs, and these are costs that are going uncalculated a lot of times because you have bring in a warehouse to supply more material. And I even see it on the residential side. Guys are they're growing, they're up getting bigger areas so they can stack more wood in their place. But there's a hidden cost associated with that. I mean, you're storing that lumber, that product in your own facility. I mean, that costs money. So a lot of people are asking them, hey, you pay for the wood right now. And here's the storage, what it's going to cost. Or you can take a chance. Here's the price today. The price 3 months from now, even if we can get it, is going to be a different price. So they're making it easier on themselves and not having to take that all on themselves. And that's driving up the costs.
Dittmer came down. He was working the school with me, and he's got some property and he leases some of that property out to farmers. And he was telling me that farmers are getting crushed. Absolutely. I was watching the news when I was getting ready this morning, and they were interviewing some farmers from Iowa who are just, getting blasted. But the guy that Dittmer leased some of his property to, he bought fertilizer. He had a feeling something was going to come up. So he bought a ton of fertilizer and, stuff that he needs to farm. He bought it last year. And he said, it's the only thing that's saving me right now is because he goes, that fertilizer price has absolutely tripled. His fertilizer price has tripled. I can't imagine cost of doing business and some of your costs are going to triple. How do you deal with that one?
Towards that end, I'd like to give a shout out to all my prepper friends, and I apologize for anything I may have said in the past. And I think it's time we get together and re-engage again. Everything a farmer touches runs on gas or diesel. I mean, right? I mean, that's so yeah, that, and obviously we know what's going on. It's going to really affect that too. So yeah, I mean,
That article you sent, they also talked about trying, companies are trying to get innovative because there is such a worker shortage. And I just thought it was funny where they said, try to make it fun, try to, make it interesting for these guys. And I kept thinking, power drive. There you go, the power drive. Put a kid on the edger, he could be gone in 2 days. Put him on the power drive, he's good for the rest of his life.
that article I sent, by the way, is what I wrote. That wasn't an article. That was my notes.
I'm going to give you a bell for that one.
Thank you very much. It's funny because that's something we talked about before. The construction industry never had to worry about the human side of or the personal side or the soft side of business. Nobody cared. You're in construction. You don't like it, you got hurt, get out of here. Yeah, you know what I mean? No
Right.
one cares about your feelings.
There's 5 people that want your job.
Yeah, beat it. You can't cut it, get out of here. But you're right. Innovative companies have realized that they have got to somehow make the job fun. It reminds me of fishing for 16 hours with my family when I was a little kid, wanting to go home and them going, see, isn't this fun? You're having fun, right? You better say you're having fun.
I'm just trying to think of how we can make scraping underneath radiators fun. Scraping around radiator pipes and stuff. We got to make that fun. Maybe singing a song or something like that. A lot of singing maybe. But when I read that one, make it fun. I was like, oh man, that's gonna be a tough one for us.
Something just occurred to me as we're talking right now that one way I think guys are making it fun is with social media and sending videos back and forth to each other. And I think that's a way of encouraging each other. You know what I mean? And,
yes.
and staying in touch with each other. And it just dawned on me right now that that's probably a lot reason why the guys are doing it.
We've talked about Praters before. Praters guys.
Well, explain who they are first.
John Prater and Prater Sports Floors out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've had John on the show a couple times, talking to him about the sport industry. No, he was on twice. He was twice.
I don't think so.
You a betting man, Highlander?
I'll bet you a hamburger.
You got a bet. He was on twice.
Hold on.
Once with Billy and once without. But I'll keep going with my story. Now I completely forgot what I was saying.
Making it fun.
Oh, how his guys made it fun. They used to make videos. It was a riot. It's funny you said social media because they had this one video where they started playing like James Bond music, okay? And the guys rappelled down in their warehouse. Have you ever seen their warehouse?
Yeah.
They rappelled down from the ceiling, put a patch in the floor, and then rappelled back up. All to like James Bond type music. They did all sorts of videos. Another one that they did, which I thought was hysterical, was they had Bill Price on, our Bill Price. And they were asking him, the Bill Price state of the sport industry type thing.
Yeah.
And it was like a, attractive girl talking to him, like a news type situation, right? And so Billy is just droning on and on and on, and she's filing her nails, and at one point she's making a sandwich at one point, and Billy's just, yammering on and on. It was
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So you know what? They figured out a way to have some fun, and you're right with the ways people are on social media now and everything. Yeah.
It's funny because anybody who owns a business or a lead man who's been under the gun has probably faced the same thing. I remember being on jobs before with guys. I'm thinking, man, I need these guys to stay. I need them to stay like three or four more hours. We got to get this nailed up today, man. And I'm like, yeah, you like
I know
ACTC?
exactly. Oh,
Yeah, we can put on ACTC. It'll be fun. Hey, how about I order a pizza? What do you guys, you like the pineapple on the pizza?
oh,
I'll get you that. Yeah. Hey, this is pretty good, man. Hey, so what you do last night again? And you come on, man. Yeah, I need you guys. You're begging in your mind. I
yes.
got to get this done tonight. I can't have them guys quit on me. So, yeah.
No, been there. Yep. Especially when we were doing bowling alleys, because everything when we were doing bowling alleys, you had 3 days, you had 4 days, because you had to get to the next one and the next one, and people had to open their business up, so nobody wanted to be shut down. So we had to stay to the schedule. So if I knew that we had to work till 2 o'clock in the morning to get a coat on, I would be walking around and
Mhm.
talking nice to guys and bringing pizza in. And yeah, why don't you go go sit down for a little while? I'll take over for you. Just such a horrible person to play these guys, and they knew it. They all knew what I was
Well,
doing.
yeah, but
They
you
knew it.
and you
Yeah.
got to do it. When I was a kid living in Michigan, in the UP, we took this kid fishing, and my is the old man and my brother Steve, my older brother, and he was a new friend of mine. You know what I mean? I'm just getting to know the kid. We just moved there, and took this kid on a 3-day fishing trip, which was our first mistake. It was Rob. The conditions could not have been any more miserable. We had no heater in the car. The tent. We had no. It was oysters and crackers. Was our food, and it was miserable. And I tried to get.
Wait a
Hey,
minute. Wait a minute. Were you just eating oyster crackers, or you were eating oysters?
like sardines. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But they're like
I was gonna say, if you're eating oysters, geez, I didn't know you
no,
guys were
oh,
that. So you're eating sardines and crackers.
sardines, and they were like the funky crackers, not the good ones.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, yeah, man, we could catch a big one any day now or any time now. And yeah, I could see. I mean, I could see him going downhill quick, man. And I was like dancing around, trying. Hey, man, this will be fun. And you know what? Supposed to get up to like 12 degrees tomorrow. That'll be that'll be nice. It's like a heat wave. We'll try to get the fire going tomorrow. I know it didn't work today, but you know what? Once we get that fire going, man,
Tomorrow.
yeah,
Oh,
that's when it kicks in.
yeah.
On
There's
day
nothing like fishing, huh?
on day 2, while it was snowing and raining and sleet, sitting in the car freezing, dude starts crying. And so it's over now. The dude's crying. So my brother sitting behind him
Wait a minute. This is second day of a 3-day trip.
of a 3-day trip.
Is it the end of the second day?
It's about 1 or 2 in the afternoon of the second day.
So halfway through this trip,
Yeah,
this kid's in tears.
he's crying.
Oh,
I knew
man.
I knew the
this
kid.
is bad. Yeah.
I knew this kid was too soft to go on one of our fishing trips, man. So when he starts crying, my big brother in the backseat, smacks him on the back of the head. He tells him to shut up. So then I shoved him into the window, this kid. I go, yeah, shut up. And I knew it was over. We're not going to be friends any longer. You know what I mean? The jig is up. You see the situation. Now the kid was our hostage. He wasn't our little, like he held on to a quarter. Like we're going to get him next to a phone booth. That's not happening, dude. You're here for the long term.
Oh.
Yeah. So you got to make it fun.
That's how you make those lifelong friends, huh?
Absolutely. So anyhow, so that's the things that I getting around these guys I kind of learned. One is that this is probably going to go on for another 2 to 3 years, is what they say. So I try to look at the positive way coming out of this. I mean, no sense looking at it any other way. I mean, it is what it is. So we just have to. It's the new normal for a while. We just have to adjust to it. I think hanging on to your good employees by trying to make it as fun as you can, and I do realize I joke around about that, but I do think it's important. And watch the prices. Don't let people grind you down for prices and what have you. And there you go.
Yeah, you're in demand now. Now you're in demand. So yeah, that price thing, that's a big one, I think.
Yep.
And we've always talked about that. We're big believers in, don't do that anyways, but nowadays.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a State of the Union for
There we go.
the flooring
On the
industry.
floor, State of the Union.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Good thing they can see it on YouTube too. How do you like my lighting today? My lighting seems a little better at the hotel.
Your cheeks look rosy today.
Thank you. It's Mississippi.
Yeah,
it's all this Mississippi air.
It's bringing out the complexion.
Exactly. Yes.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Did you say y'all? Did I miss that?
I could have.
Okay. Yeah.
I slip into it. Absolutely.
That's the first sign.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I could see that. I could see me doing that. Absolutely.
Well, get yourself some red beans and rice while you're down there, and some redfish.
A guy came in and he had overalls on, big beard, ball cap. Just looked like a Mississippi farmer. He was a floor guy though. Mm-hmm. And I looked at Jeremiah. I go, "That's what I'm wearing the next time I come down. That's it. That's me right there. Mississippi, here I come."
I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Rob. I appreciate your limited input. And sorry.
Man, I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
I don't know why.
I'm tired.
It just comes out. I know you are. I'm totally kidding.
Listen, next show, I'm going
to turn it around, huh?
Yeah. You watch the comeback. You watch me get my second wind.
All right.
Hey, I talked about the 97 trailer loads. That was me. That was all me.
I wrote it down and emailed it to you. and then it was you.
Now, wait a minute. Now, haven't I done that for you in the past?
You have.
Haven't we worked?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, let's be fair here.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, you're absolutely right.
I write 1 out of 40 shows.
Yes, I'm not. This is a team disaster. All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Please do stay tuned for another episode.